That is not Scotch. Oh, didn't see you there. Welcome to today's episode of Defense Theater, defending the movies that everybody hates, including you. For today's tale, let's travel back to the 1990s. It's a time of change, of impending war, of evil. No, I'm not talking about Toy Story 2, but rather Star Wars. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, penned from the great mind of the legendary George Lucas. Oh, didn't see you there. You've snuck up on me again, you sly son of a bitch. Never mind the Phantom Menace making over $1 billion at the box office, or the 261 days that it was in theaters, which is nothing to sneeze at. God bless you. Sure, there are some valid criticisms of the Phantom Menace, namely Jar Jar Binks, more like Jar Jar Stinks. Of course, there's the midi-chlorians argument. The pod race was maybe a little bit too long. And then a beloved villain, known only as Maul, Darth, was cut in half much too soon. But I'm here to tell you that the Phantom Menace is not the monstrosity that you think it is. After all, being in theaters 261 days, I'd venture to say that you saw it multiple times in theaters, and many times after that. Perhaps on DVD, Blu-ray, maybe even VHS. And let's not forget that it is the only Star Wars film in 3D to return to the theater. It has been said that the Phantom Menace lacks the intrigue and excitement of the original Star Wars films. That's odd, because as I recall, The Force Awakens had many callbacks and similarities to the original Star Wars in 1977, A New Hope. To those people, I call them a new dope. Some have argued that the Phantom Menace didn't make sense, that it was forced to fit into the Anakin/Darth Vader arc. Well, newsflash for you, it was actually created because of Darth Vader. George Lucas said many times, Star Wars is the story. Rather, the tragedy of Darth Vader. And a sad one at that. One might argue that the Phantom Menace actually features one of the best musical scores in the Star Wars saga, nay, of all time. John Williams, living genius, no one can deny that. At 86 years old, this February, he has composed the last two Star Wars films in Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, for not including Rogue One, of course. And let me tell you, Duel of the Fates. It is one of the most epic songs you will ever see. If you aren't familiar with what Duel of the Fates is, it's the song that plays during the final battle between Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is so epic that they decided to bring it back for Episode 2 and Episode 3. Now, tell me with a straight face that the music in The Phantom Menace is not the best in the saga. I didn't think that you could. Oh, and let's not forget, speaking of lightsaber duels, it is the best lightsaber duel in the entire saga. Okay, maybe someone at the Geekiverse.com wrote that it was the third best of all time. But for this, I argue that it was the best. Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, picture this. It's 1999. You have not seen a brand new lightsaber fight since 1983. And then, it was only a brand new Jedi fighting basically a machine. And before that, a guy who was maybe not even worthy to be a Padawan fighting a machine. And before that, it was an old man in a machine. Come on! Pathetic. But, in The Phantom Menace, we see some of the greatest, most graceful, most skillful sword fighting you will ever see on screen. All from the stunt coordination of one Nick Gillard. Oh, and speaking of lightsaber duels, Darth Maul, I'm going to say it right now, is one of the greatest villains in Star Wars history. Sure, he only has a few lines in the whole film. Sure, actor Ray Park didn't even say those lines, but it matters not. Look at that tattooed fiend. That double-bladed lightsaber, full of rage and hate. Everything that you would imagine a Sith warrior to be. One of the greatest lightsaber duels of all time, with one of the best Star Wars villains of all time. Tell me I'm wrong, people! The CGI effects are the best of the prequel trilogy. Episode 1 features the least amount of CG work between episodes 1, 2, and 3. Some of the sights are absolutely stunning. From the Palace of Theed to Otogunga. Oh, back to that lightsaber fight on Naboo, another beautiful sight. It's all over the place. And Lucas did the best job of mixing both practical and CG effects. Something we might not be able to say for episode 2 or 3. I will hand you that one. But episode 1 stands up today, nearly 20 years later, as one of the better looking films of its era. Next, you're going to tell me that the acting and chemistry was subpar. Are you kidding me? Ewan McGregor as a young Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the best casting choices of all time. Of all time! Good job, George. He practically looks like he's Alec Guinness's son. From the mannerisms, to those dashing young Jedi looks, to that brilliant accent, Ewan McGregor is one of the best parts of the Star Wars prequels. The next point for defending the Phantom Menace is that we saw life before the corruption and evil ways of the Galactic Empire. The entire time that we knew Star Wars existed, before the prequels, we wanted to know what the Old Republic was like, what the Clone Wars were like. Phantom Menace sets that up for us. We get to see the Jedi High Council. We get to see the Republic before it was demonized completely by Palpatine. We got to see Jar Jar Binks. I almost couldn't say that with a straight face. And one more point that I want to make in defending Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. It established a starting point for Anakin Skywalker, nay, young Anakin Skywalker's troubles and his issues. Anakin had to leave his mother at the ripe old age of 8 or 9, depending on who you ask. Now I say, would you be able to leave your mother and go planets away on the other side of the galaxy to become a Jedi? To fulfill the prophecy of the Chosen One? No. No, no. Oh no. I think not. And if you say otherwise, you are a lying sack of Sith. We actually have time for one more brief tale. The timeless tale of galactic politics. C-SPAN in space, practically. Taxation on trade routes. And who could forget midichlorians? I believe it's pronounced midichlorian. The now scientific fact of how the Force came to be in every living being. And it's how they defined young Anakin. Okay, seriously, dear George, that is an absolute joke. Midichlorians, garbage. Second of all, now we're talking about politics in space. I hate politics in real life. Now we're going to talk about it in my favorite saga. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous! I'm sorry. I lost my cool there.